Aunt Renee, what's going on? I'm trying to figure out why this joint ain't even connected. How art thou? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. I'm trying to wait for a few folk to get in the room to see what's what. For some reason, it's not going through my Bluetooth right now, so yeah. But I do have, like, just a few things on my mind. I guess my major question is, what has caused the arrogancy of this generation in Christ? I know that's a crazy topic, crazy question. But I've realized that a lot of people, a lot of your younger generation in Christ, have a sense of not wanting to learn. We feel as though you can't teach us too much of anything. So, just want to know exactly what has caused the arrogancy of this particular generation in Christ. You know, why do we feel as though we can't be taught? Why do we feel as though we know it all? Why do we feel as though we have the answer to it all? And then whenever someone wants to try to teach us, whenever someone wants to try to give us understanding of some things, why is it we blow it off, we brush it off, and act as though we're better and don't need the teaching, don't need the understanding? As y'all come in the room, please share, please share, please share, please share. Sharing is caring. I feel like this is a good topic. This is something that we need to talk about. So, sha-na-na-na-na-na. Yes, sir. For those of you that just joined, I asked the question, why? Why do we feel as though, or is there glory in here? Right. How do we feel about the arrogancy of this generation? Is it, and why is there arrogancy within this generation? Is there a reason for it? Why do we feel as though we don't need to listen? Or why do we feel as though we know everything? Why do we feel as though we have all the answers to everything? Had to make sure. Dude, you know my topics are going to straight be about God and straight be about Christ. What is arrogance? Arrogance is feeling as though you know it all. Not needing to be taught anything. Not feeling as though you have all the answers and can't nobody tell you anything because you just got it like that. Come on, John. You know what arrogance is. And I know that there's a difference between being arrogant, cocky, and confident. I'm not speaking about confidence. Like me personally, I'm confident in what I know when it comes down to, music and God and the whole 9 yards. But I'm never to a point as to where, I feel as though I have it all. It is unteachable. What's going on, Chris? It is unteachable, but being unteachable also brings upon a sense of arrogance too, when you feel as though, can't nobody tell you anything. I mean, and you bring out your arrogance. You show your arrogance in your facial expressions. You show your arrogance in your body language. You know, so I mean, it runs hand in hand in that retrospect. Or do you feel that you feel as though you want to? Okay, so I'm gonna bring you on so you can elaborate some more, sir. Chris, I asked a question. Why do we feel as though, or why is there arrogance in this generation? Why does this generation feel as though they can't be taught and told anything when it comes to the body of Christ? And my man is not answering me. Wow. John, did you get my invite? Hey. Okay, so John actually started answering me, and then yeah. Jay, where you at, man? Try again. Because I want you. I mean, you saying that it's not arrogance, so I'm trying to get your point of view as far as what arrogance is and what it's about. Because there is a sense of arrogancy when it comes down to it. Um, if you feel as though you can't be taught anything, it is being unteachable. But when you are to a point as to where you don't want to listen, you feel as though you have it. You cop an attitude when people try to help. You don't. I mean, you feel as though you don't need the help, and your body language and everything says all of that. That's yeah.
Hi guys.
Finally, he has come back. Let me stop. So
I can't stay on long.
That's cool. But I mean, just give me your point of view. I mean, you keep saying that it's not arrogance. So I mean, what is your intake on arrogance?
Well, I mean, arrogance to me is, even when you talk about dictionary status. Hold on for a second.
Yeah.
This is dark in here. Oh, I have no reason to fear. Oh. Sorry, this is like really dark in my house.
Yeah.
All right.
Shanana, glory.
What there be like?
Right.
There's a thin line between unteachable and arrogance. Because you have some people that are unteachable, but they're not arrogant. And I think, there are some people that don't want to be taught based on who's trying to teach them.
Okay.
But it doesn't really give them a sense of arrogance. It's almost like if you're out, it's almost like a parent saying, "Don't do as I say, not as I do."
I get that.
So if I don't listen to you, it doesn't deem me as being arrogant. It's me looking at your lifestyle, looking at what you're doing, looking at what you have portrayed, and I just don't want to follow you. And I think this generation is not a generation of a total arrogance, but it's a generation of I'm not following you. And we're blunt enough. We're blunt enough to say we're not following you. It's not that I think that I'm better. And most people say that. Oh well, since they're not gonna follow me, they think they're better than me. Like for instance, I had a situation where I made my opinion. I said my piece, how I felt about something, and the response was, "Oh, so you think you the only one in the world anointed?" No, I don't think I'm the only one in the world anointed. I just have an opinion on the situation. And I think sometimes we use the fact that this generation has an opinion on a lot of stuff that we consider or deem them arrogant. No, my opinion doesn't mean that I'm arrogant. My opinion does not mean that I'm smarter than you or do I know it all. It's just the fact that I have an opinion. And versus people back in the day, they wouldn't be as opinionated as we are today. We're very opinionated, but we are opinionated based on the fact that somebody didn't teach us, so we learned everything. You know what I mean? We learned everything based off of the internet. We learned everything based off of doing research on our own, and some of us learned based off just trial and error. And so when you have people that are basing everything off of trial and error, you come out, you seen me struggle. Okay, here's the thing. You seen me struggle. You seen me struggle, but you never helped me. You seen me down, but you never helped me. Now I'm on my feet, then you want to help me. That doesn't make sense. And so because I refuse your help, I'm deemed as arrogance. Because prime example. Tell me an average church, not no mega church. Tell me an average church that constantly have exegeting classes for ministers.
Not a one that I can think of.
Not one that you can think of, and you know a lot of churches. I know a lot of churches. Name one church, or think of a church that you know that have a consistent ministry that's constantly teaching people stuff.
Okay.
Right? So when I learn on my own, whether it's right or wrong, I don't want to hear what you got to say, because don't do that. I don't want to hear what you got to say because I learned on my own, and you're not coming to say, let me help you. You're coming criticizing. If you're coming to help me, the first thing you should never say is, that was wrong.
Right.
Find something positive in my message or in my dissertation or anything, and then say, but there's some things that I'm concerned about. You mean like Sunday school for adults? No, not Sunday school for adults. Because listen, everybody don't go to Sunday school because, first off, we get Sunday school out of a book, and half the time that book is boring.
Yes.
That book ain't talking about no real life. That book is opinionated by all these commentary people, and so half the time the teachers don't know how to teach it.
Nope. Even with their teacher's edition of the book, because their edition of the book is totally different from what they give the class.
Exactly. So I don't really want to say my generation is arrogant. I think my generation is like, well, y'all didn't help me when I was down, so I picked myself up, and so I'm good. I'm good.
Right.
When I came and asked for help, you know what I'm saying? My thing is this: we're living in a generation where all of our leaders, most of our leaders, have that mentality. Y'all want to learn. Y'all think y'all got it all together, and that's not the case. We want to learn. We want to work, but you won't allow us to work. You want to allow us to learn. You know.
Yeah.
It's almost like give us a voice. Give us a voice. Let us trust you first. See, because what happens is there were so many people that mishandled the gospel.
Yeah.
There were so many people that mishandled the gospel. And so now some of the stuff y'all been telling me, like y'all been telling me to name it and claim it, but it's not Bible. You can't see in the Bible where it say name it and claim it.
That's
so
true.
We talking about naming and claiming, and I've been going around naming and claiming for 5 years, and ain't nothing happened. So I don't want naming and claiming no more. Let me just get my credit straight.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
But there's a difference too. There's a difference between the those of this generation that have had to learn on their own, and they just like, nah, you know what, I'm good, because when I needed your help, you didn't come, you weren't there to aid me. And then there's a difference between those few that that don't want to hear it from anybody. I mean, even those that are really trying to help and really trying to.
So instead of saying they arrogant, let's find out why they don't want help. Instead of saying they prideful, let's find out why. Let's see, everything deals with the root of the issue.
Right.
And I think we're so many times the church magnifies the issue but don't look at the root. Yeah. I think sometimes the church look at that there's a crack in the tree.
Yeah.
And the tree can possibly fall and tear down the house. But you don't look at the roots of the tree and don't realize that the roots are under the house anyway. And the foundation is getting pulled up because of the roots. And so sometimes the foundation is messed up because there's some deep-rooted situations that got under that you didn't even see. It got under the foundation. And so now you have the church saying that this generation is arrogant. This generation don't want to listen. No, there's some roots that got under my foundation. And my foundation is being cracked up. And the church could not fix the foundation because the church did not have the answer. So now the question is, does the church have the answers to my broken situation? I'm tired of shouting. I'm tired of shouting over it. I'm tired of crying over it. Can this get fixed? So then I tell people, yes, it can get fixed if we start to live right.
Right.
That's why the Bible says, if you live right, I'll take care of you. Bottom line.
Right. Watch this. Watch this. Now, you know how we grew up.
Right.
And in us growing up, and being musicians, and I'm going to take it to that aspect. Even coming out of New Mass, we were constantly kicked off the instruments and all that other stuff because they felt like we didn't know what we were doing, even though we had the ambition and drive. Now, with all of that being said, as we got older and we started perfecting our crafts and we started learning the craft, they began to tell us, hey, you're cocky, you're arrogant in the same aspect. Do you feel as though the terminology of arrogancy is something that's being misused?
Because listen, see, because what happens is, okay, so I learned how to play, and I'm good at playing, but you're still trying to kick me off.
Exactly.
Right? So here comes my anger, not arrogance. My anger says, I'm tired of you pushing me away.
Exactly.
I'm gonna sit here, and then here it is. Instead of giving me the opportunity to say, yo, he killing, I'm gonna let him stay on. You try to kick me off. What you do is you make me want to resist you.
Exactly.
You make me want to disrespect you.
Yeah.
Because you're not helping me. You're not sitting there showing me different chords. You're pushing me away. Here it is. Here it is with today's generation. Okay, so they say our generation is lazy. I've talked to at least 100 church millennials that's still in the church and say it's not the fact that I'm lazy. I want to work, but they won't let me work where I want to work.
Yeah.
Let me work where I want to work. Don't put me in something that I don't have. See, and then you got people like, well, you can't work over this department. You got to usher first. No, this not that era. Because, see, in that era, we trusted our leaders. We trusted our parents.
Yeah.
But then you cannot trust somebody who's living the same way you living. So, therefore, this generation don't trust leadership because leadership is tearing down our generation. And we're smart enough to think on our own and to trust God before we trust man.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
And the crazy thing about it is this. When it's all said and done, the older generation get mad at us because we go outside of them to learn what we need to learn. And I'm going to give you a prime example. At New Macedonia, I learned as much as I could as a musician.
Right.
But it wasn't until I got to First Baptist of Glenarden And I started working with, you know, Jeremy Berkeley, and I started working with Stephen Hurd and Mother Berkeley and Mike McCoy, that I really began to expand my mind as far as my chord progressions.
Right.
And so once I got up under them, once I was able to sit up under them and hear their different styles, I began to develop the style that I have today, which is totally different from what I had when I was younger.
Well, here's the thing. The thing is this. Don't tell me I don't want to be taught if you never sat me down to teach me.
Teach me, right.
Me and you having opinionated conversation is not a one-on-one teaching and student conversation.
It's not.
We're having an opinionated conversation. And so if we're having an opinionated conversation, I'm not trying to be taught. I'm just having an opinion. Now, if we're sitting down as teacher and student and it's clear, this generation is a straightforward generation.
Right.
If you say you're going to be my teacher, I'm expecting you to teach.
Teach me. Yeah.
Teach me. Don't have me waiting. And then when, like you said, when I go outside and do my own thing, because I've been waiting too long.
Right.
See, I believe some stuff we kind of put into a situation because we wait too long.
Right.
I'm never gonna meet man's requirements.
No.
When you think I got it all together, I'm gonna mess it up. Because I'm never gonna meet your requirements.
And then you look
I
at
can be as humble, I can be as kind, I can be as loving, but there's something that I'm gonna do that's gonna make you look at me side-eyed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It's
So we're not putting this generation in position because they're saying, well, they don't want to wait for nothing. Well, here's the thing. The reason why we don't want to wait for nothing is because the world's not waiting for us.
That is true.
The world giving us everything we want. So if we come into the church, what are we giving people? Why do I have to sit down for 2.5 years in order for me to move forward? Instead of you taking 1 full year and teaching me and putting me out there.
Exactly.
Taking 1 full year, sitting me down and teaching me, saying, this is what I expect. This is what I want. This is the doctrine. This is how we believe. But you put me on hold because you think I'm arrogant.
Even though we're not of the world, we are in the world though. And so we look at everything from both aspects, because when it's all said and done, when the church doesn't give us, the world will. And
let me help Ronnie here. Let me help you, because we are not the world, right?
Right.
We should be more progressive and advanced than the world.
Exactly.
The church is not progressive and advanced. The world has taken us over. That's the problem, because we keep saying we not the world, we not the world. But the truth of the matter is the world is our enemy. If the world got more weapons than we are trying to use, we got all the weapons, but we ain't using them.
Right.
We got all the weapons, but we're not using them. And that's the bad part. That's the bad part.
That is the bad part.
So therefore, when we get to the place where we use what we got and we push it, Jay, come on, sit down. My son trying to eat. But when we push,
go ahead.
When we push the world's agenda out of the church and put the church back where the church is supposed to be, we'll be all right. Well, again, that's my argument. My argument is, number one, why is it that I know, a young person can know that they're anointed, you know. They know they're anointed. They know that God has given them the ability to do things, crazy things, right? Why is it that when we know we're anointed, we're arrogant? Jesus knew he was anointed. And when Jesus knew he was anointed, Jesus went out and let the people know who he was. Jesus was like, I am the Son of God. People looking at him like, dude, what?
Who
I
are
am
you?
the Son of God.
Right. They look at him like, who are you?
Because you don't believe on me, you going to hell. He said that in John 8 to the Sadducees and Pharisees. Now, who are you to tell me that you the anointed one? So when we come and we say it to the church, oh, I know God's anointed me. I see the manifestations. It's crazy because Paul tells Timothy, you're about to pastor. Timothy, you're about to go into ministry. Don't let nobody despise your youth.
Yep.
Don't let nobody look at your age and tell you that you're not qualified based on your age. The church has looked at the age of people and say that you're not qualified. Oh, you're rough around the edges. You're not qualified. Man, Jesus flipped over tables. He told the lady that was coming up to trying to get her daughter healed because it wasn't her time. He said to her, well, don't the dogs eat from the king's table? This is Jesus talking to a female.
Female, yeah.
But the female supposed to have the utmost respect.
And then you got to look at it too. How old was Jesus when he was first, when Mary and Joseph lost him, and he was in the synagogue actually teaching the people?
Right. Right. And see the thing is, and again,
exactly.
one thing I love, one thing. Right, Corey. They think that age means experience when no. See, and that's the thing. What made David such a great, and see, people try to use David, or David had to go through this process and wait for this long. That's understandable, but it still did not mean that he wasn't qualified.
Exactly.
David was qualified as soon as his father told him to go check on the brothers. He was qualified right there.
Exactly.
Before the oil even came out, he was qualified.
Mm-hmm.
You catch what I'm saying? Before the oil was poured on him, he was qualified. Why are we trying to wait to pour oil on people when God has already qualified them? So if a 12-year, 13, 14-year-old son can kill a giant, can kill the big giant that everybody is scared of, why won't we use people? David wasn't in church when he went through what exactly. As a matter of fact, David was hiding. David was in a cave.
David was hiding.
David was hiding. He was in a cave, and that's the issue that we have, because then when we hide and we go to our cave experience, they think we sinning. When we hide and we're quiet and they think we why he ain't talking to us? They think we in sin.
Right.
No, I'm hiding because y'all trying to kill me. Because I'm anointed. Y'all won't let me work because I done slayed a couple of these demons, and the demons got mad, and so because I ain't want to mess up the church, y'all put me in silent mode. So I go hide. I ain't got nothing to say to nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. Then you call me arrogant because I'm in hiding. Nope, I'm just hiding because y'all don't like me. Y'all trying to kill me.
Paul's position was very unique. When you really look at who Paul was, you find out that Paul was one that was a Jew that understood the law and also saw, that the law wasn't being upheld as tight as he thought it was, which is why Paul found himself in the position that he was in. Jesus showed examples to show his.
Hey, yo, but look, check this out. Regardless of Paul's position, you mean to tell me that this man was killing all y'all, now he preaching to y'all? Come on, bruh. Like that's crazy because you won't use me. You won't use me because I'm rough around the edges. But God used Paul, who was killing everybody.
Killing them, yeah.
He was killing Christians. You were killing them. Now you're gonna preach to them.
Yep. Matter of fact, if you look at his story, there was plenty of times when he first walked into his ministry that he had to go in hiding. They were letting him down through a window just so he can get out of the city.
So what does that say? What does that say? The ones that they keep trying to kill us, are we really the anointed? Okay, here's your age right here. Why is the anointed always arrogant?
Exactly.
See, when them kids that's following you and that's just, see, there's two type of church people.
Mm-hmm.
There are the anointed church people and there are the non-anointed.
Right.
You have the people that just come to church. But then you have the people that's in church, they love God, they anointed by God. Those people are always the ones what people call arrogant. No, I'm not arrogant. I walk in authority.
Right.
Now, I don't walk in authority to the point where I overstep my boundaries.
Right.
I don't walk in authority to where I don't, where the prophet is subject to the prophet. I don't walk in authority. If my pastor says something, I gotta stop. I gotta listen to him because I don't overstep my boundaries. But why am I always at the chopping block when I'm trying to do ministry?
Exactly.
See, okay, I'll give you a prime example. Okay, in my scenario, I was dealing with some people in my music department. Now, if I'm head over the music part, I gotta make sure everything all right. I was dealing with a person, and I called the person immature. Right? I called it I was like, you immature, you need to grow in God. Right? Cool. It was true, but because she went back and said something, I got in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Which for me, I was kind of in my feelings because I'm like, I feel like this person is messing up ministry.
Right.
It's stopping ministry. One thing I noticed about God, anybody that tried to stop his ministry, he let them know who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Every time and that's crazy because as a millennial, as a preacher, why every time I'm trying to do right, I'm at the chopping block? Why every time I'm trying to bring ministry to the house of God, I'm at the chopping block? Ministry should never put me on a chopping block.
Right.
And that's the crazy part with the millennials, and that's why they're walking away from the church, because they want to work. You just won't put them in the right area.
Then that brings me to this subject. We as Christians have to get out of our sensitive ways of thinking when it comes down to ministry. And I say that to say this. In a situation like that, if she wasn't being sensitive, to her personal feelings, she would have took what you said and actually began to grow. And instead of her growing, it was, let me go and run and tell this person, let me go tell that person, to put you in trouble, when in all actuality, what was said was truth. Because Jesus was always at the chopping block. I mean, yeah, we get that.
Well, here's the thing. Jesus was at the chopping block. Jesus was at the chopping block with people that didn't believe him.
And that's a difference.
If we believe in the same God, we should never be at the chopping block of ministry.
Right.
And let me say this. Let me say
wow.
this. Yo, and this is Ronnie. I'm sorry to rebuttal with you, but I don't believe that we're soft. Here's the thing. Okay, in the 90s, there was something called the latchkey kid. Mm-hmm. The latchkey kid fended for themselves. Okay, I was a part of the latchkey kid, so they are nowadays considered the millennials. The latchkey kids left middle school and was going to their own homes by themselves, fixing their own food, watching their own TV shows, doing their own homework until their parents came home at 7 o'clock. So from 2:30 to 7 o'clock, 5.5 hours, I have time to learn on my own. So here it is. That's just like now my son can pick up the phone and scroll through the phone. So when he gets old, if I'm not abrupt or up to what he's saying. She said, I agree with that, but I just kicked myself out. But no, sis. So when you have people saying stuff to people that already pulled themselves out, it's harder to reach them.
Right.
Where were you when I was watching porn while my mama was at work? Where was the church programs then when I was at home and I was 14 years old, and because my mama wasn't at home, I was able to indulge in sex? Where was the church programs then?
Right.
So now I've experienced life at 15 years old. So now that I'm 25, you think I'm gonna let you tell me what to do?
Right.
I've already experienced life. So now you got to reprogram and build trust with people. It's not like, oh, we're taking the church as the old days. This is not the old days. You got to build trust with millennials.
Yep.
Because we found out so many false doctrines, so many false teachings. You got to build trust with them. If I don't trust you, I don't want to hear you. And listen, you got to understand, in this day and age, trust has definitely been kicked aside when it comes down to church.
Right. So, Mark, going to your statement. Some people only want to grow on their own terms. Even in the Bible, they went through the fire to get to where God needed them to be. Now, with you saying that kind of goes back to what I was initially saying. You know, is it arrogancy that they don't want to go through the fire? Or is it just the fact that, you know, we feel as though we're unteachable in that way?
I feel like it's not the fact that we don't want to go through the fire. I think we're getting this misconception because sometimes we don't want to hear you because I'm in the fire.
Exactly.
I'm broken. I'm hurt. And the church failed me. Can we start there? And can we say that the church has failed many people? And maybe I don't want to listen to you because you came criticizing me instead of loving me. It may not be the fact that I'm all for growing in spiritual growth and having a leader, and those that hear the word, they are doers of the word, and them that have an ear, let them hear. I'm all for it, but we're not going to grab people with hearing if we don't fix their problems. And we have to give them Jesus first before we try to fix them. We're trying to fix people before we give them Jesus.
Yeah.
They coming in with tight skirts. We want them to put a wrap around them. They coming in with the boobs out. We trying to cover them in sheets. But they don't even know Jesus.
Right.
They don't know Jesus. So they're in the fire. It's not that they don't want to go through nothing. It's the fact that their life has been hell since they became who they became. So, and then understand, yes, we are in the fire as millennials. We are being persecuted. We are in the fire. Who's going to help me come out of the fire? Exactly. Nobody's helping me come out. You're just complaining of who I'm not. And I've been here for so long. You're complaining of who I'm not, who I haven't become yet. Well, do you not understand that I can't become who God has designed me to come if I'm still hurting? If I'm still in pain, broken? I think it's different. Like we're taking Bible, and I think we're taking it out of context. We're taking it out of context. The context wasn't the fact Jesus ordained his own self to be put on the chopping block.
Right.
Jesus ordained that. I did not ordain to be put on a chopping block. I was ordained to be put in ministry. I should be put on chopping block from people in the world. People in the world, persecuted from the world. That's what the Bible initially says. Mm-hmm. Those that believe on me will be persecuted by the world, not persecuted by the one that I serve with, not the church. The church has to understand their rightful place. And if the church starts to understand their rightful place in God, then we would not have all these millennials or people of this generation who has all knowledge walking out of the church.
Right.
Let me see how you live, how you treat people. Then, and only then, will I follow you. Now, if you want to use Jesus and the disciples, let's use this. They followed Jesus predicated on what they saw Jesus do.
Exactly.
Let's clarify that. Number one, Jesus said, okay, you seen my works. Now that you have seen my works, leave all your possessions and follow me.
Yep.
The church now wants people to follow them without no works. I can't follow you. You're not doing no works. People are still sick. People are still bitter. People are still broken, and you want me to follow you? I cannot follow somebody that don't have works. That's why I thank God for my church. You got to find you a church where you see works. It's not about the money. It's not about the houses and cars. How many people are getting healed? Jesus was on the boat and with the disciples. They was not even disciples yet. And he said, cast over your net over that side. You're going to get all the fish.
Exactly.
Then he tells him, now drop all your possessions and follow me. Stop all that you're doing and follow me.
We got to remember when it's all said and done. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, we got to remember when it's all said and done, before they even began to walk with him, before they even began to figure out who he was, he actually did something to actually catch their attention. He saw their works before they even knew his name. So we have to keep those things in mind.
Right. And so we can't jump on our generation saying that they don't want to hear, they don't want to know. We're not saying the works. Right. If you want to use Jesus and disciples, we're not saying works. That's why you have people that are not even teaching doctrine correctly, but they got works.
Right.
They got works. They're doing for the community. They're loving on people. They're teaching the wrong doctrine. They're not even preaching Jesus. They preaching prosperity. And I don't know how prosperity gonna get you into heaven, but guess what? They preaching prosperity, but guess what? They're loving, they're caring, they got things going on for the community. Yep. They don't even baptize you no more. You ain't got to speak in tongues no more. You ain't got to do none of that, but they showing love.
Yep.
They showing love. They're
everybody
showing that they care about people.
Everybody that's coming in the room, please share. Because, I mean, these are topics that we don't touch on. This is something that we don't talk about anymore in the church. You know, we want to.
But you know why we don't talk about it? You know why we don't talk about it? Because they don't want to hear it.
That's true.
They don't want to hear it. Leaders sometimes, most leaders don't want to hear it.
That is true.
Most leaders do not want to hear. They don't want to have to. See, because they say, well, you leave in the church, then your heart not right. Well, maybe so. Okay, maybe so. I'll give you that. But doesn't the Bible says if one sheep walk away, leave all the 99 and go after that one? So nobody technically should be leaving the church because the leaders should be going to get them. That's none of my business.
And here's my intake on that too. We, as far as this generation, we have a different hunger than what the last generation had, and the generation before that had, and the generation before them. There are some things that we want out of life. There's some words that we're looking for that's going to help us get us not just through today, but the entire next week, or at least until Bible study Tuesday or Wednesday night. We're looking for certain things that are to come out of the word that we're just not getting. And when we're not getting it, and we're desiring it, and we're hungry for it, and we're lingering for it, we're going to do what we need to do to find it. And we're going to continue to search to find exactly what it is that we're looking for. Now, let's not get it twisted with looking for somebody that's going to just stroke our ego and tell us something good. We're looking for the good and the bad. We're looking for somebody that's going to tell us, you know what, sir, you're doing wrong, but I can guarantee you, if you do this, we're going to get you on the right track. We're looking for somebody to tell us, you know what, you don't want to go down that road because that's going to lead you down the wrong road. It's going to take you somewhere you don't really want to go. Let me take you this way. Let me show you how this is supposed to go. Let me show you how this is the way that you need to be in order for you to get to where you're trying to get to. These are the type of things that we're looking for that we're not getting.
But you know what, Mike? Here's the thing, Mike. Let me work. Let me serve.
Exactly.
Don't look at my age. Don't look at what I've done. Let me serve. Look at all disciples that served Jesus Christ had issue, problems.
Right. Yeah.
Go down the line.
Right.
You're gonna make mistakes, but see, this generation, like you said, the hunger is different. Let me work. I want to work. If I can't work, I don't want to be here. What's the point of coming and I can't work? Give me something to do. Yeah. And this generation is like that. Okay, well, okay, if you don't let me work in the church, I can work out here in the world. So I'd rather go to work than go to church.
Church, yeah.
Because church don't have nothing to offer me. I'm trying to work. I want to work. I want to bring my friends to church, but my church is so religious. My church is so dry. All they want to do is do the same old, and they don't want to hear no different ideas. Let me work. Why won't they let our generation work?
That's a good question.
Can somebody answer me that question? Why they won't let this generation work?
I'll give you my opinion to that. A lot of them don't want to let go of the reins. No. You don't want to go there?
No.
You don't want to go there?
No. It's not. Look. It's not for me. I don't think it's the fact. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's the fact that they don't want to let go of the reins, because I think it's the fact that sometimes I'm afraid of what's going to happen if I let them loose.
Let go. Yeah. But that's saying the same thing. They don't want to let it go. Simply because of the fact that they don't know exactly which way we're going to go with it. For some of them, they think we're just extremely too radical for them. And they're like,
that's what we need. I'm crazy enough to go in the street, jump and shout and say Jesus. I'm crazy enough. And you need some crazy young people. And this generation is a generation that's crazy enough to stand on the side of the corner and start worshiping God. But you won't let us do it.
They are intimidated.
Because when we do it, then we in office and we in trouble because we did something that was out of the norm. We did something that was out of the norm. Let us work.
Do you know how many times?
Why can't we work?
Do you know how many times we came back from a youth retreat and we were in trouble for the bull crap that we did? And let me rephrase that. It wasn't bull crap, but for the way that we did ministry down on the youth retreat. We got in so much. Matter of fact, Philip Pointer and Alvin and them, they were actually banned for a minute because of how we did.
See, and that's the crazy part. People came back delivered, free, changed, and we got in trouble.
Doc, there was folks that came back speaking in tongues that actually was baptized in the Holy Spirit, and they weren't getting it on that Sunday morning. They weren't getting it on those Wednesday nights. They were baptized in the Spirit off the youth retreat. We got in trouble. Isn't that crazy, Shamel? We got in trouble for this crap.
But that's the issue, though. That's the issue. That's just like, you know, I'm totally transparent. That's just like, in my youth choir rehearsal, we started talking about the word. I got in trouble.
For what?
I got in trouble. Well, did you talk to the youth? Did you talk to the youth president? Well, he wasn't there, and we were just flowing, and they was asking questions about the Bible.
So yeah, we went there.
I think sometimes we take order too far.
Yeah.
I think we take structure and order too far. I think that's just my personal opinion. And I could be shot in the head, and I may be pulled in the office for this conversation right here, my friend. But I'm just saying, I don't care, because at the end of the day, bro, I'm gonna please God. At the end of the day, as long as one person is saved through ministry, I'm gonna please God.
That's all that matters.
That's why, and it's a shame. And now I understand. I understand why there's 25-year-old bishops. I understand why there's 30-year-old apostles. I understand why nobody want to sit under somebody. I understand. because you're not teaching us. You're more so correcting everything that I do wrong, but you're not telling me what should I do right. You can tell me everything that I'm doing wrong, but sit me down and tell me what to do.
Right.
Give me instruction. Give me a plan. Show me how to do this.
Don't tell me.
Look.
Don't tell me I done did something wrong, and don't wag your finger at me.
Hey, Sean.
And then you don't want to actually show me how to go the right way. Don't sit back and do all of this, and then you go run to the pastor. Oh, you know, Brother Mike, and this, that, and the third, and da-da-da-da-da. But you ain't did nothing to help me. I have a problem with that. Jesus
helped every disciple that he had.
Exactly.
No matter how bad they were, how Peter cut off is, Jesus taught him right there. He picked up the ear, he looked at Peter, he taught him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These people were taught. Exactly. John, this is my beloved, because he taught him. He taught that, and that's the thing. Why are we not being taught?
Right.
It's not that we don't want to listen. It's the fact that we're not being taught.
Yeah, that's true.
Ashley, why you have eyes? You're hearing. What's happening? You can't hear us? Ashley, what's up? I haven't seen you forever. Jeez.
It's been a long time.
They're not tuned into our youth, nor are they understanding their mindset, nor there's understanding the mindset, and no people leading them also. Older folks are so judgmental, like they're perfect people and not leading, or that's a lot, or trying to keep. I agree. I'm just gonna say.
I would say for that, Chanel, a lot of that has to do with the age gap in a lot of ways, because you got to remember when the older generation grew up, things were a whole lot different. And they're not looking at our generation, which is the generation behind them, but they're looking at our children, which is the generation 2 generations down. So they don't know exactly how to actually teach them in the way that they need to be. I'm sorry, gossip, but they don't know how to teach them in the way that they need to be or in the way that they need to go, simply because of the fact that they're skipping the generation. So they don't know exactly what needs to be done in that way. What would have helped us a long time ago when we were younger, it's not going to help the babies that's after us. And it's not going to help, definitely not going to help the babies that come after them. So we'll be out of place in a lot of ways when it's all said and done. And that's why there's so much of a problem there. Like they think going taking the kids to King's Dominion is going to do it for them, and that's all they need for the summer. Nah, they need something. They need
no more King's Dominion trips. We don't need no more Six Flags trips.
No,
we need no more Hershey Park trips.
No,
we need a full-out worship experience where we are broken in God. Okay, don't get me started. We doing car washes. We're doing car washes to raise
bake
money
sales,
to go to Six Flags.
Bake sales and all that other stuff.
Whatever.
And then they get mad when we on the bus and we, doing what we do on the bus and whatnot.
Why y'all singing them songs? Because y'all ain't giving us nothing to live from day to day. Anyway, man, I gotta go, Mike. I gotta go. I already know I'm probably gonna be in the pastor's office tomorrow. So.
Now it's not saying that we're not respecting the elders for their wisdom. But there's a difference when it comes down to it, and there's a disconnect in the outreach.
Mike, you too nice. You too nice, Mike.
Say what you gotta say, man.
You too nice. Here's my issue. Don't tell me to live right, and you was just talking about my godmother, and you the missionary. How? Like, I don't understand. Like, come on, y'all. Like, I can respect you when you're actually living right. I can respect you when you actually holding up the bloodstained banner of God. Like, don't tell me to live holy, but I just heard you cursing but you thought you ain't see nobody around you, but I just heard you cursing at your car, and you the deacon.
Don't tell me live right. Don't tell me live right, and then the minute service is over, you walk outside the church and you light up a square.
Come on,
like, you can't do that.
We don't want to see that.
It's one thing to give constructive criticism, but then there's another thing when you just downright blatantly come down on people and you wagging your finger and you telling me, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't, and then you still, when you walk out of the church, you're doing the same thing. And I'm not saying this everybody, but the fact of the matter is there's enough of them that are doing it. We don't mind taking constructive criticism from those that are willing to give it and do it in the right manner. We don't mind actually taking rebuke from those that are willing to give it and do it in the right manner. But at the same time, your life has to be living right too. Don't sit back and tell me, I can't be going out, having sex before marriage, but you smashing off one of your deacon friends' wives when he's not at home. Come on. I mean, everything has to line up. I'm just saying.
Like, this is my thing, yo. I've seen so much in church that even as a preacher, and I'll say this on live, where if I did not understand my purpose, I would walk away from the church. If I did not understand what God has for me, I would walk away. If I did not fear and reverence God the way I do, I'll walk away from all y'all church people.
Yeah.
But I can't because sometimes, for real, truth of the matter is, I'm just like y'all. So why walk away from something that I'm just like?
Right.
So that's why I strive to love everybody. I don't care, you curse me out right now, I'ma love you. I'ma love you. I'm still gonna look out for you. You can talk about me. I got a situation right now where my name has been slandered and it's not true, but I love everybody that said it.
Right.
I'm not out to get nobody.
And
I'm in a situation right now where it can really tarnish my character and integrity. But I still love everybody that did it.
Yep.
I love you.
Listen,
and guess what? If you need me to do anything for you, I'll still give you the shirt off my back. Nah, we don't need a good cuss.
For real, Ashley. That's
No, thank you at all. But no, I'm just saying. Whatever happened to loving people, man? Whatever happened to saying, hey, I got you. Whatever you going through, I got you. I know you fell. I know you messed up. I see, yes, you are pregnant, but come over here. Let me teach you some stuff about pregnancy, because it's your first baby. I know you had it out of wedlock. We'll deal with that later, but right now I need to equip you for what you have done. I need to equip you, and not only equip you, I need to make sure that you're strong enough that the devil won't come in and swoop you for you to have your second child out of wedlock. And then I need to make sure that you know about dirty men and you know about godly men. I see, whatever happened to that?
Right.
I need to equip you to show you what true discernment is, so you can discern a man that just wants your pants, and then you discern a man who really can pray for you, or who really can prophesy and be the prophet, priest, and king of his home.
And cover you.
Right. Because it's no point in being in a relationship with a man that won't cover you. It's no point in being in a relationship with a female that won't cover you. It's no point. But we not teaching those. We just pointing the finger saying, you going to hell. No, I'm not going to hell as long as I got a chance to get it right. How about tell me that? You got a chance to get it right. God gave you another day to get it right. Now get it right. Don't just tell me I'm going to hell.
And you want to know? You want to know why that is, Ariel? Because a lot of us don't. Oh no, let me take that back. A lot of people don't know what God's true understanding of love is, and they don't. We don't understand what God's Eros love is really all about. So that's the reason why we go by the world's definition of what love is. A lot of us think that sex is love, and it's not.
But that's only because somebody dropped the ball. Let's deal with that. Somebody dropped the ball.
Drop the ball.
A daddy wasn't there. A mama wasn't there to love somebody. I mean, we not addressing the whole situation here. The situation is, let's not call them a hoe. Let's just say that they was not loved. Let's not call them a slut. Let's just say that somebody dropped the ball. Because 9 times out of 10, somebody did not love that individual, so they thought that this was love. And so now the church is in a position where we're always criticizing somebody, but you won't find out what happened to me at 9 years old. Maybe it's just a spirit on me because I was raped. Maybe it's a spirit on me because I was molested. Maybe it's a spirit on me because somebody told me I was ugly. Can we start dealing with spirits and stop dealing with physical things and start dealing with the spiritual? If we start dealing with spiritual, we do not fight flesh and blood, but we fight spiritual wickedness and principalities and high places. So let's stop fighting flesh and start fighting the spirit. Let's find out what spirit that you have in you that was imparted from you when you was a child, and then let's deal with it from there. Come on, y'all. Like, all right. Like that's what I'm saying. Like we so busy saying, "Oh, you going to hell because you had a baby out of wedlock." But do you not know that this is the only means of love that I feel? Because even when I came to the church, y'all looked at me side-eyed and I didn't feel love. So I had to go out there and have sex with my man because that's the only way that was gonna make me feel loved. And now I'm pregnant and he left me. The church ain't here to support me. They won't even have a baby shower for me because I had a baby out of wedlock. Now where do I go? I'm going to find me a religion that can support me doing wrong and support me doing right. And then we mess up. Now you got people in a religion that's going to support your wrong. Right. And it's not about supporting their wrong. It's about loving them while they're wrong. If you love me while I'm wrong, when I get right, I'll come back and thank you. But we don't have people in the church thanking people and giving credence to people because you didn't love me. You corrected me, and your correction wasn't in love. It was judgmental. I'm done because I'm getting mad. You don't understand. I'm getting mad. I'm really getting frustrated because we have these theological myths that, oh, well, yeah, you sin. So, no, if I got it right with God, who the heck matters whether you got it right with me or I got it right with you? I got it right with God. Yes, I messed up. I asked God for forgiveness. He forgave me, and I promised myself I'm not going to do it no more. But you won't let me live it down. I did this 10 years ago, and you still holding it over my head? Are you a saint or are you a demon? What spirit are you? Okay, I'm done. I'm done because church folk irritate me. I'm sorry. And I'm a preacher, and I'm still saying the church folk irritate me.
Trust me, look, I'm in the same boat. They irritate the bejesus out of me. Because I'm tired of and I get where you at. I'm tired of religion the same old way. First of all, I'm tired of religion. I'm tired of church holding on to tradition that ain't helping. It ain't working anymore. You can't.
It worked back then. It worked back then because it was easy to control people. Right. If we really want to talk truth, it worked back then because it was easy to control people. They didn't have computers. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't have knowledge to internet. It was easy to control somebody. But if I can look up online and Wikipedia tell me everything about Christianity, I don't need you. Because you ain't teaching me right no way. You telling me to follow you, but you're not even following God. Come on. I am done.
And I'll say this. I think that's part of the reason why you have a lot of people that are going online and they're able to actually obtain a ministerial license within an hour without having the proper training, without having any type of anointing, without having any type of background for God to say you are called to preach. There's a lot of people that are going online and they're getting their bishop's license directly online. And
because nobody wants to teach them. Nobody wants to sit down. See, when I was growing up, one thing I loved about my grandfather, my grandfather at 9 years old would take me and have me sit next to him on the pulpit. He was teaching me. Mm-hmm. When he was in the office and he was studying, he'll have me sit next to him to watch him study. He was teaching me. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? When he would go down to his bookstore, he'll take me with him because he was teaching me. Mm-hmm. Y'all too busy standing in y'all offices trying to figure out how we gonna make the next bill or money, or how we gonna make the next building that's not gonna edify nobody but yourselves, and you not teaching nobody. Have consistent classes where you sit down and teach somebody.
Ooh.
Have consistent classes. And I'm not talking about this Bible study stuff where we ain't talking about nothing. Because I'm all right.
And that's all this is. This is nothing but Bible study for us. But we're talking about it in a different manner than what.
Right. But this right here, it helps grow.
Yeah, it does.
It helps grow because it's like, okay, wait, who got the answers? Who got the answers? And stop. And you could just tell me, just trust Jesus. All right, what do I do in the meantime? I trust him, but what do I do in the meantime? Can I work? Because the Bible says an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So if I'm not working in the church, I'm idle. So then the devil comes and takes out kids because they're idle in the church. Let them work. Let them work.
Yeah.
Give them something to do. They idle in the church.
And here's the thing about it. We will never be in the wrong ministry when it comes down to letting us work. Why? Because we have a passion and we have a drive for what we're trying to do. So we can never be in the wrong. And I got a book called The Ministry of Helps, and it talks about working out and operating outside of your ministry. That does not apply to us, simply because of the fact that we have the desire and the drive, and we already know what it is that God really wants us to do. But if you're not allowing us to do it, then you're killing those ministries that we're supposed to be a part of.
This is why Mike, for real, if God was not my number one source, I'll walk away from the church.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly speaking that. If people was my God, I will walk away from the church. Yeah. But because God is my number one source, but see, here's the thing. I was brought up to have my own relationship with God.
Right.
Let's be clear. My personal testimony is I walked away from the church. I was trying to get away from the church. God stopped me in an alley, getting ready to do some crazy stuff, sell some drugs, and I got jumped in the alley, busted my whole lip, had to get 21 stitches in my lip. It was split completely open, and the police officer said to me that you were the 7th person that got jumped in this alley. You're the only one that got out alive.
Wow. And that's
I walked away from the church because of the same thing that's happening now. I walked away from the church because they won't hear you.
Right.
They don't want to adhere. They don't want to. Nobody got good ideas but the leader.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I want to work. I want to do more in ministry, but you won't let me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I was like, well, I'll go sell drugs. I'll go to the world. I'll just go ahead and just sleep with everybody. I'll use women. I'll be a womanizer. I'll get money from them. I'll pay my bills from them. I'll do that because the love that I thought was love was never love. So I had to go to the street to find love.
Right.
I had to go sleep through women after women after women to find love, and I still ain't find
it. Yeah.
So then I go back to the church and I'm wondering, where's the love? So now my personal relationship with God has to be so on point that I can't allow people to deter me from the love of God. People are always going to jack up the mission of God.
Right.
Because the mission of God is not always their perception. The mission of God, the mission of God or Jesus Christ is not how we see it sometimes.
Exactly.
Because he never called us to kill people. He called us to build people. And we're killing too many people. The devil is running rampant in the church. He told Peter, he said, Peter, upon this rock I'll build my church. And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Why does it look like hell is in the church and it's winning?
Exactly.
Maybe somebody stopped really teaching the principles of God. I'm done with it because I'm getting frustrated and I'm getting angry. And see, the church will even tell you that you can't get angry, and the devil is a liar. The Bible says, "Be angry." I ain't
but
sinning,
not.
and I'm not gonna sin.
Right.
It's okay to be angry. I'm angry at the church. Oh well, whatever. They don't care, so it's okay. It's okay. I'm still gonna preach the doctrine of Jesus Christ and that He loves us all. I'm still gonna preach, but I'm angry.
Yo,
Angry.
Ashley, y'all are crazy talking about Jackie Joyner Kersey, not Nancy Kerrigan.
Jackie Joyner, Lord Jesus.
She told Asia to change her running emoji back to a black woman.
Oh,
yeah, but I mean this
that's good.
is
That's good. Lion says some people aren't wise enough
to build others.
But it goes back. It goes back to 2 Timothy chapter 3. In the last days, Paul tells Timothy, in the last days, there's gonna be men that has that lovers of themselves.
Yep.
They, and so a lot of people are building kingdoms for themselves. I'm not building to stay here. I'm not building my relationship with God to stay. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for the Lord to come back.
My reward is not here, and I'm not looking for no reward here.
Lord, come back. Like, that's my prayer. I'm sorry. I just had to. Lord, hurry up. Like, for real. I can't take
it. Here's the crazy thing that I'm really finding. You have more people of this generation that are so desiring for full-time ministry. Their love, their passion, their heart, their desire, their everything is God. And we don't have anybody to really teach us how to walk into ministry the right way.
They won't. They won't teach us. Unfortunately, they don't. And see, it's bad because we gotta sit. We gotta sit down and wait. We gotta sit down and wait 20 years before we get taught, and we ain't got 20 years.
Right.
Jesus is on his way back, and we need to do as much ministry as we can now. This is the time. For real, this is the time for you to buy me a plane ticket to go to Houston so I can go pray for some people in Houston.
Right. Like
you know what I'm saying? Like what?
Elder Bennings, thank you for walking into the room because Ashley was cutting a fool. No, I'm
bro. I'm getting out of here though, bro. I'm getting out of here because I gotta go pray now because I'm angry.
All right, that's cool. Thanks for joining me, bro. All right, bro.
All right, man.
All right, man. Let me bring this one in because I know she got a word on her. I know she do. I just need her to say yes. Hey, shout out, glory. Come on in the room.
Praise God. You funny. Praise God.
How art thou? So I know
I'm tired.
You heard a lot of what
lie to you, but I'm blessed of the Lord. Yes, I am.
I know you've heard a lot of where we are and what we're talking about. Please give some intake. We're talking about, basically why there's a disconnect with the new generation as far as the church is concerned. Is it arrogancy? Is it what's causing a lot of the problems, and what is it that we're not getting that we should be getting, and so forth and so on. That's what we're talking about here.
Repeat that for me because it went in and out and I couldn't really understand the question.
I said what we're talking about is basically why is there so much of a disconnect, as far as this generation in the church? Is it arrogancy that is causing us not to get what we need to get, or what? I mean, is it just that we're not teachable, or we're not being taught?
Okay, so if you talk to the young people, which I do often, I try to talk to as many young people as possible. I consider myself, somewhere in that millennials bracket. You'll understand that it's not only that there's a lack of teaching, but there's a lack of transparency from those who came before us or those who are
Yeah.
coming before them. That's why you know me. You know I'm like transparent. I don't care. I don't care because it's what I've been through. It's what I'm growing from. I think the
Right.
saints need to be transparent about the stuff that they went through, with the stuff that they're going through, and be honest about some of their struggles. And
Right.
I will say this: I did come in on the tail end of the conversation. Hey, everybody. And I will say that even though we may disagree with some of the things that's going on in church, as leaders and as ministers of the gospel, we have to make sure that we allow the Lord to work on the anger that sits in us because of how we were done. And we have
Right.
to make sure that doesn't turn into bitterness and that we don't spread that, because what happens is we're in danger of doing the same thing that was done to us but in a different way. We'll turn them
That's
off
good.
before they have a chance to come inside of the church because of what we're saying. Remember, when you say something out of your mouth, once it's gone, it's gone. And we have to
Right.
be careful because we don't want to end up with blood. We don't want to scare people away from the church. Now, I will say that what we need to do,
Right.
we need
And that's
to be
good.
the people that we were in the church. We need to be the people that we say we needed when we were in the church. And that's what I try to do. That's why I try to be as transparent as possible. That's why I try to be as available as possible. And that's why I'm honest about my struggles, the things that I suffered, the things that I've been through. And the saints, they would test the lie. They wouldn't tell
Ooh.
the whole story.
Right.
They would just tell you bits and pieces of it and leave out the part where I wanted to cuss somebody out.
Right.
But the Lord held my tongue, or I did cut somebody out and I had to repent. I
Yeah.
really feel, like I said, after talking and then coming up,
I think you break.
we clung to that woman like white on rice because we enjoyed the fact that she was real with us. We enjoyed the fact that she was open and honest with us. You know what I'm saying? And I think that those of us
Right.
who are in leadership now, like I said, we need to do the things that we said did not.
Right. You breaking up real bad right now. Hey, Shanika, you breaking up real bad. But she hit something that was very key and very evident. Transparency actually does make a major difference in why we are where we are, because people weren't being transparent with us, and they weren't teaching us based upon their transparency. So, while you may have had the answer, or you may have gone through a lot of what we've gone through, but showing us, hey, going down that road is gonna mess you up later on in life. Showing us how it's doing these things is what makes it key for us in a lot of ways. And if we're not getting it in that way, then it's gonna make a major difference. Um, because we're not gonna sit back and see it for what you're trying to say. Switching to Wi-Fi. Okay, that makes sense. But we're not going to see it for what you're trying to say if you're not being transparent. If you're just trying to wag your finger and tell us, hey, don't do this, don't do that, this, that, and the third, da, 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 da. You're not showing us anything. You're not teaching us anything. You're just telling us not to do. And then it's like you forget, oh, well, you made some mistakes yourself in life. So show us what the mistakes were. Teach us how those mistakes messed you up. Because when you do those things, it creates it gets our mind running, and it gets us resonating with, okay, you know what, yeah, That's good. Okay, maybe if I don't go down this road, I could end up in a different position from what they ended up in. And it's not to say that you're going to end up in the exact same position, but don't cut us off without giving us a chance to actually see what it is that we need to see. Don't put us on the chopping block without giving us an understanding of, okay, well, maybe this will happen, maybe that'll happen. Don't throw us on the chopping block simply because of the fact that you're afraid to let go, or you're afraid to allow us to actually try to make moves in a way in which that we need to make them. So, I mean, all of that makes a major difference. Again, everybody who hasn't shared, please share. I thank everybody for tuning in. Again, we're going to try to do this at least once a week, and, you know, just have a session to each other. You know, with the word. I just want us to actually look at the word in a different manner. Not necessarily being beat over the head with the word, but actually touching our situations, touching our issues. I want us to touch our issues and actually try to get some answers to our issues without it having to be, you know, something that, you know, where we being beat over the head with the word about it. We're going to give the word, as you have seen. But let's do it in a manner in which we're all able to accept it. We're all able to eat off of it and say, you know what, that's good. Okay, yeah, that gave me understanding. That gave me clarity on some things. If we're just beating each other over the head with the word and we're not getting understanding or not getting clarity, then there's no point in us doing this. So until next time, I'll holler at you later.